So on Project Nerdy, we are currently talking about book to movie adaptations. Instead of talking about some of my favorite book to movie adaptations or some of my least favorite book to movie adaptations, I've instead decided to talk about 4 books that I'd love to see a movie made for. Now, some of these books in the past have had movies made about them, but some it's just been a while. Other ones I just did not care for the movie. So this is why I'd like a new movie made on these 4 books. First up, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. One of my favorite books of all time. It's not my favorite book of all time. It's definitely in my top 3 or 4, depending on my mood. Many of you in school might have seen a really old version. I'm not sure if it was in the 60s or 70s, but the special effects are awful. The acting is very wooden. I'd love to see a new version made of this. I think current technology, they could actually do the special effects to show the technology mentioned in this book and it not look cheesy. It's such a great book, it deserves a great movie version. So, Hollywood make Fahrenheit 451. Next up, and another round with those classics, 1984 by George Orwell. I've never seen a movie version of 1984. I'm sure there's been some made. I just personally haven't seen one. I'd love to see I know there's been ones done in the past, but I'd love to see a modern twist on this. The topic of this book makes one of those, they could easily make a movie every 10 or 20 years and it would still be relevant to the current society. I think this would be an awesome movie. I know the ending's very dark for a Hollywood type movie, so I'm hoping if they did make this in the movie, they would not change the ending that the book mentioned. Anybody that has read 1984 knows what I am talking about. Next up is my Star Wars nerdom coming out again. I'm talking about the Thrawn trilogy, which Heir to the Empire is first by Timothy Zahn. The best 3 Star Wars books ever written. Anybody that loves Star Wars books secretly is hoping, or openly hoping like I am, that the new Star Wars movies will be based on this trilogy. The chances of that happening are basically almost 0, but a Star Wars nerd can still dream. So I'd love to see movies based on the Thrawn trilogy. And lastly is a nonfiction book, Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. I know this is a little bit of an unusual pick, but I thought I'd shake it up and do at least one nonfiction. Alexander Hamilton is the founding father I find the most interesting. So I'd love to see a movie made on his life, much like other historical figures have been done recently. And I guess the best example of most recent would be the movie about Lincoln that Daniel Day-Lewis won an Oscar for. So somebody make a movie about Alexander Hamilton, and hey, you'll win an Oscar for it too. So those are the 4 books I'd love to see a movie adaptation done for. Hollywood, get on it. So my nerdy pleasure this week is kind of on topic, but instead of a book-to-movie adaptation, my nerdy pleasure is kind of a book-to-movie to iPad game adaptation. World War Z has come up with a very cool iPad app. It's a great game. I really enjoyed it a lot. I usually don't pay a whole lot for app games. This was $4.99. It was money well worth it. It's one of the best games I've ever played. It really felt like more you were playing a video game than actually a tablet game. So if you're into gaming on your iPad, I'd highly recommend you check out World War Z. It's money well worth it in my opinion. And I thought, why not do a random question this week? So instead of asking a question about books or movies, instead I'm going to ask you, if you could take a road trip with any member of Project Nerdy, who would you pick and why? Let me know in the comment section below. Look forward to hearing the responses. And Nick, I will see you on Thursday.